In today's video, I will cover all of my best rank tips for Olympus. Now, I'm only going to make one video for this split as I'm not too hyped on playing ranked lately, but I have come up with a ton of helpful tips and discovered something about this split that not too many people are talking about, so stay tuned throughout the video. If anyone is new to the channel, I did a solo to Masters guide in Season 8, and in the first split of this season, I did a guide on how to reach Platinum and a guide on how to reach Diamond solo. So these tips I'm about to offer in this video apply to all of the ranked tiers. It does not matter if you're in silver going for gold or gold going for platinum or platinum going for diamond. All of these tips apply to all of the tiers. Now let's get into my first tip. It is called the 30-second rule. And in these 30 seconds, you should be deciding with your teammates if you are going to take the fight or if you are going to be backing up from the fight. And the reason I have this rule is to help mitigate third parties. Olympus plays much differently than World's Edge, and it's much more similar to the King's Canyon playstyle, and that is because Olympus is a smaller map, and Olympus only has about 17 POIs, which stands for points of interest, whereas World's Edge has about 20. So this means more people are forced to contest off drop. The map feels much more wide open than World's Edge, also resulting in more third parties because of less cover. So within those 30 seconds, it's imperative that you guys decide, hey, let's take this fight, or hey, maybe this is not a good spot to take a fight and we should just chill out and play safe. Tip number 2 is going to be try your absolute best to find a team this split. Now, I know a lot of solo queue players watch my videos because I offer a ton of tips for solo players, but the reality is the solo queue experience in Apex is becoming increasingly more difficult. And if you're in the comments being like, I can't seem to solo to platinum or to diamond or whatever rank you're trying to get to, the easiest solution would be to find like-minded players to play with. Some of the best ways you can find teammates are any social media platforms, Discord servers, or looking for group posts on console. I want to elaborate a little bit on how to find the right people to play with. So for one, you should try to find people you can get along with, have a good time, and still discuss constructive criticism for ways to improve as a team. If someone is straight up toxic, it's really not worth the headache playing with them, regardless of how good they are. Team chemistry is a real thing, and if you're uncomfortable constantly, then it's not worth it. On the contrary though, if you find some people you vibe with but you're not gaining that RP that you're looking for, then you guys need to spend more time playing together to see if you can break through that wall of what is missing for your team. And if you've spent a good amount of time playing and you're not gaining RP still, then it's probably best to take a break and or find different teammates. Sometimes people just don't mesh together, and that's okay. It happens in every professional sport, so think of it like that. I will also add the majority of the clips in this video I was solo queuing, and it was extremely frustrating. To give you some insight on some of what my teammates were like, I had a kid getting boosted and a cheater on my team. I had 2 kids who decided to solo launch, and these 2 kids died off drop and they have never made it past gold rank. And I had a ton of toxic teammates who never used their mic until they got knocked to talk trash to me because I wasn't there and didn't die with them. The rationale and the reasoning of the majority of random teammates in Apex is atrocious. So do your best to find teammates, and at least you will vibe with them and hopefully gain some RP. If you're still watching and listening for tip number 3, I ask you to do me one solid and smash that like button so you can show the YouTube algorithm that this is a good video. Now here's tip number 3. Make sure to look around when you're dropping. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to think this is obvious, but the majority of my solo queue matches, at least one teammate lands on top of me and we are uncontested at a drop, and that wastes not only my time, but theirs as well. Spread out and loot your respective areas and then go meet up. You will be able to loot more efficiently and effectively. If we both land in one building and we're uncontested, then we're basically splitting whatever loot's in that building. And if there's not a lot of loot, then we both don't have a lot of loot, which means we both have to spend more time looting, which is not a good thing. If you are contested, try to figure out how you can land near your teammates but not directly on top of them unless the situation calls for it. Each situation is unique, but especially if you're uncontested, please split up and loot your respective areas and then meet up and go look for a fight. Tip number 4 is going to be try to find the most isolated fight you can possibly take on this map. Ideal scenarios are early game, edge of the map, where you have some info on how many teams are within the area, and if you have decent loot, look to take that early fight and then you can chill until late game. A lot of people focus on when and where to third party in ranked, but don't think just because it's a third party that you're safe on this map. The majority of the time, third parties on this map turn into fourth and fifth parties, and especially if there's more than 10 squads alive. If you can hear a fight, chances are another team is listening to that and thinking the same thing you are. If I can avoid taking fights in places like Estates, Hammond Labs, and Turbine, generally anywhere near the center of the map where a lot of people decide to have World War III out there, then I will avoid that at all costs. There's a balance though when it comes to taking the right fight in these ranked lobbies, and it will ultimately come down to your IQ level of the game and the specific situation that you find yourself in. Before I get into tip number 5, I wanted to address some of the recent requests from the community around a ranked overhaul. There have been some suggestions to eliminate KP, or to make it so that it's only team-based instead of individual, and there have been a lot of talks around to focus more on placement and make it more like ALGS format, because people claim third parties are too prevalent and people just int you for no reason except they want KP and don't really care where they place. I can agree that something should be changed, but I truly think I would need to test it out to see if it feels better or worse than the current system. And in my eyes, there's no doubt that ranked feels like a lot of work for a little reward, especially for the solo queue players, and in most instances it's not an accurate representation of skill. I can't imagine any changes would come until next season at the earliest, and even then, I'm not holding my breath. However, I would like to see some significant changes in the upcoming seasons, but I'm curious to know what you guys think. Drop a comment below and let me know if ranked needs some big changes, and I'll let you guys know if I agree or disagree with your opinions. Now for tip number 5. For the majority of the player base, you should probably stick with the current meta for this map. The strongest legends I've noticed are going to be Bloodhound, Gibraltar, Octane, Revenant, Valkyrie, Wraith, and possibly Horizon. Obviously, I've been playing a ton of Lifeline this split, but if you are serious about using the best comp right now, I recommend using one of those 6 legends. Octane and Bloodhound are insanely good for this map. Octane because of his jump pad. Olympus is a very wide open map, and Octane's jump pad's on such a short cooldown and can help you and your teammates rotate a large distance basically for free. There's no other legend that can do that right now to the extent Octane can. And Bloodhound's so good because of the information you and your teammates receive from a scan. Bloodhound has literal wall hacks every 25 seconds. I will say, however, they do promote a lot of bad habits, so please be aware of that. I'm hoping on the 29th when we get a mid-season update, there will be some big changes to shift up the current meta. If there is, you will definitely see me playing much more ranked. If you are new to the channel and have yet to subscribe, I hope you will consider doing so after watching this video. And thanks so much for watching. I will catch you on the next upload. Peace.